And this morning on Today's Woman, the story of one woman who, like so many, started her own business based on a very simple idea. Jane Pollock is another successful entrepreneur whose good ideas and talent have cut it. She's written a book called Sole Proprietor about how to make your business and your life a success. Jane, good morning. Nice to see you.
Great to
you know,
be here.
your business is quite different than the toss and chop, isn't it? You paint Ukrainian Easter eggs.
Right.
Tell me how you got into that business.
I was a high school art teacher, and one of the other art teachers said, this is something we do with our students, and that summer I exhibited my work for the first time. I didn't really know I was in business. I was an artist selling my work. But pretty soon I realized that in order to grow it and to make more money, I was going to have to figure out how to be a business person as well.
Right.
It wasn't something that people needed. Like
right. It's sort of more of a luxury item, isn't it?
It is.
You were asked to design an egg for the White House Easter egg hunt.
Yes.
So I guess at that point in time you realized there might be a market for these, right?
It was a turning point, and I think when you're selling something luxury that you want to create a market around the aura of what you do, and so people wanted it because my work didn't become better, but there was something attached to it now. I was now a designer to the White House, so it gave some cachet to it, and I thought, oh, let me use that to help sell what I do.
You know, this is so labor intensive, obviously. It's not like creating a product and just selling it. I mean, you have to really work hard on each one of these. Is it difficult to make money doing this because it's so time consuming?
Well, what I've learned and the lessons that I share is that I have to figure out how to amortize my time, so I hired somebody to help me do it. The pieces, you know, to make it go faster, somebody else could do the pieces. I have a high school girl who comes in and works with me.
But that's not exactly a huge staff, is it?
No, but I also am not looking to make millions of dollars. I want to have a lifestyle business that suits who I am, and that's really the purpose of my life here, is to you know, reflect who I am.
What do you mean when you say a lifestyle business?
I really wanted to be home for my kids, and I was able to do that and have time for friends and to live a fairly simple life, and I wanted to keep my business small, and I've been successful at doing that while remaining profitable, and I know that other people can do it too.
You mentioned profitable. Your eggs started at $8 a piece.
They did.
And now they sell for?
$300
wow.
each for a chicken-sized egg.
Which is great. So you're able to do pretty well doing this. I mean, as you said, you don't want to become a millionaire necessarily, but it's bringing in a pretty handsome income, isn't it?
I've also created other products, and I've written books, and I give talks about what I do and how to run a business. So what I've done is I've expanded based on my original gift. I'm not just doing eggs anymore. I've created a whole entrepreneurial enterprise out of the gift that I was given.
What kind of recommendations do you have for women who might want to start their own business?
Well, I think look at what your passion or talent is. What are you doing no matter what? And I realized at one point I wanted to be a textile designer, but I wasn't going to the stores looking at patterns, but I would get in the car and I would listen to a motivational tape, and I thought, you know, that's really what I love. I love listening and learning. So I realized that the direction I was going in was not textile design, but really teaching and motivational speaking.
What else is important in your book, 101 Lessons? There are other things that you say are important for success, other than following your passions. What else?
Well, I think really knowing who you are and how this business can reflect your life is important, what your values are, and to be value-driven in your business. And then I think that, you know, a really important thing is to keep at it. I mean, you have persistence. You have to really learn how to deal with rejection. I pursued one company for 9 years until they finally bought my product. But I stayed in the game.
9 years?
9 years. It wasn't the only thing I was doing, but I was constantly keeping in touch with them.
You also say failure can be more instructive than success.
Well, you learn from that. I stood at a craft show one day. It was a trade show. I was there for one full day and sold absolutely nothing, and saw this woman down the aisle with pumpkins and witches and paper mache, and I thought, maybe I'm in the wrong show. Maybe my display isn't right. Maybe I need a different set of buyers. In misery, I stood there and tried to analyze what it was that was wrong with the picture. And the next day I did good sales, but I also decided, you know what, I don't want to be doing this for the next 10 years.
So you're constantly learning from every experience you have. You talk about chunking tasks down to one at a time, so you don't get overwhelmed?
Right. I want to be a better speaker, but I can't just do that. So what I do is I'll tape a speech and listen to it. I can do concrete tasks on a daily basis. So I'm not thinking of the overwhelming task of becoming better. I make them very manageable, and I think that's what people, they want to do an exhibit. Well, why don't you just sit and do 3 hours of production first?
And what about a solid support system? I know you emphasize that as well.
So important. I have, I'm home alone sometimes in my, sweats working, and I don't feel like I'm really a business, and then I get on the phone and I call. I have a mastermind group, I have a success team, I have support all over that I've built, so I can call people. I don't have a water cooler to stand by and say, what do you think of this? I have to get on the phone and reach out. So I network all the time.
And in fact, women often measure success differently than men, don't they?
I think that's so important. And for me, it's not millions of dollars. It's really my lifestyle. And I'm one of the happiest people I know, and I think that's a reflection of what I do and who I am.
And they focus internally rather than external measures of success in general.
And I think there are a lot of men who need to hear that message too and would appreciate that, especially now. I think things have changed.
Jane Pollock, author of Proprietor. Jane, thanks so much.
Thank
and best
you.
of luck with your business.